Yo, 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 what up, party people in the place to be? You're listening to the morning show with Dex the Algo Capitalist. Sorry to keep you waiting. It's been a really busy week for me on the other side of the microphone. So these shows, sometimes I do them later in the morning or early in the afternoon, but I do try to make sure that I at least do them. So tomorrow is Take Back Friday. And so today's close is going to be very important because it's going to set up what kind of Take Back Friday we see tomorrow. And of course, we're always on a daily basis watching the stock index futures, gold and silver futures, and Bitcoin and Ethereum futures, as well as the US dollar. We watch these things like a hawk every day, and each close is important, especially as we are moving deeper into the spring, and soon summer will be upon us. The question is, does sell in May and go away apply anymore? Or is it an old, outdated thing from bygone years? Well, yes and no. It just depends. Right now, there's so much going on in the world right now. There's so much economic uncertainty. We got war. We got rumors of war. We got the potential for World War III to kick off at any moment, bringing with it destruction, thermonuclear war, all types of stuff. Then we're talking about economic collapse. We're talking about just so many things happening. Then, of course, they've been making sure to make you dizzy with all of the breaking news items, trying to keep you distracted with celebrity news and gossip. Seems like they're throwing some of their celebrities under the bus because they're desperate to take your eyes off of the economy and how your U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights is being burned in a bonfire with other book burning happening at the same time. We're now banning certain words. We're shortening the English language and vocabulary drastically. There's certain things you can't say, certain words, certain phrases. Speech is changing. Free speech doesn't exist anymore. It's been replaced with censorship. All this craziness has gone around. And there's something that I have noticed, and this is something that if you look at history and you look at the past, you'll notice something. When a society is prosperous and it brings with it some negatives, you know, being wealthy or rich or well off, financially secure, whatever term you want to put on there, it has associated with it risks, just like being impoverished comes with risks. All right. There are pros and cons to being wealthy, and there are pros and cons to being impoverished. Did you know that? You bet. What you mean pros? Yes, there are pros to being impoverished. Let's get into it. So let's examine the wealthy side. When you're wealthy, there's a lot of pros. Anything that you want that money can buy, you can buy as long as it is available for you to purchase. All right. As long as it's not sold out or, obsolete, you can get it. Anything you want. Right. So those are pros. But then there are a lot more cons than there are pros. Some of the cons never enter into people's thoughts They never even think about it. It never even comes up. It's not even in the back of the mind. It's not in the recesses of the mind. It's not even in the subconscious. It doesn't exist for a lot of people. Let's look at some of these cons. So, when you're wealthy and people know that you're wealthy, it becomes impossible for you to read the people around you. You don't know who really cares about you and loves you for you, or if they just love you for your money. There's no way for you to know that. You will never be able to know that unless you started off life poor and these have been your day one friends who were with you from the giddy up when you had nothing. That's different. But what if you were born into great wealth? You don't know the people around you if they're with you for ulterior reasons. You just don't know. You don't know who may be using you. Then you have other negatives, such as fear. If you're wealthy, you are a fearful person. What do I mean by that? Because now you have to guard yourself against thieves and people who want to take advantage of you. And you have to keep your mind on your money and your money on your mind, because now you have to make sure you don't lose all your money. So you have to make sure that you're not making wrong steps. You have to invest correctly. You have to save correctly. You have to be diligent about your money, or it can all go away. So that is constantly on your mind. That is a negative. You cannot really be at peace and rest because you are concerned. Do I have my money in the right bank, in the right institution, in the right brokerage? Did I buy the right real estate? Did I buy the right land? Did I buy the right company? Did I invest correctly? Is that venture capital that I put aside for this thing, is it going to pan out? What's going to happen? What's going to happen to my interests? I have to protect my interests. Oh no, there was a forest fire and I own property over there, or I own businesses over there. You're always concerned about that. All right. That is a negative. Now let's look at examples of pros for being impoverished. Well, for one thing, you don't have the worries and concerns of someone who's wealthy. All right, that's a plus. What else do you have? Well, one thing is that if you are impoverished and you're still alive, obviously you have learned how to take care of yourself and fend for yourself and work. You know the value of work. All right, because you're a poor person, but you're working. You're the working poor, which is 99% of the population on the earth. Okay, whether they realize it or not. So you go to work every day, or you may be even self-employed. You're working, you're hustling, you're grinding. All right, for everything that you have worked for. All right, so that is a good thing. You have the feeling of accomplishment because at least you're doing something. Of course, you would like to be doing better, but this is your current station, right? So one of the pros is you don't have the concerns that the wealthy have. Now, life is harder for you because of the economic woes. You cannot afford a lot of things. You may not even be able to afford things that you actually need. So you have to go without. So that is a negative. Things are more expensive when you're poor. Poor people pay more for everything. Rich people pay less for everything. All right, that's a fact. All right. A poor person cannot afford to eat right. You can't eat quality organic. You have to buy, prepackaged, manufactured stuff. Okay. You got to eat as cheap as possible to put food in your belly. So you pay, a lot more for that in the long run. In the short run, you're eating and you're alive, but in the long run, you're going to have health issues down the line that you won't be able to afford. The wealthy person can eat organic and everything else, and pay up front so that they don't have to worry about being sick later on. It's no guarantee you won't, but you see what I'm saying. So there are pros and cons, believe it or not, to being poor versus being rich. Also, a poor person has learned to rely on God for everything and develop a strong prayer life and faith in God to get them through life situations. While the wealthy says, I don't need God. I have more money than God. I am God. All right. Some wealthy people have been quoted saying exactly what I just said. Yes, wealthy people have said that. All right. Some of them, you probably, if I said it, you'd be like, oh, that's right. I remember he did say that. Yes. Yes. Most people that I have known or heard to say things like that, it doesn't go well for them. It ends badly for them. All right. So, yeah, there are pros and cons to all of these things. Now, when it comes to the political theater and agendas and narratives, when a nation and a society is wealthy and fat, they have more leisure time. And what do they do normally with their leisure? They start developing these ideas and theories, right, about life and about a whole bunch of different things. All right. One of those things is ideologies for special interest groups. Where are the special interest groups in third world countries? You won't find them because people don't have time for that nonsense. They don't have time for your philosophies. They have to work, they have to eat. They're concerned about that. But the fatter a nation is, then the more leisure they have, the more time on their hands they have, idle time, to set up and think about all these elaborate philosophies. And then they want to push agendas and think, you know what? If I get enough political power, enough people to sign on with my belief system, then we can change the world and change society to the way we want it because we have all the money and all the resources. But the poor person is not thinking about your philosophies and all that stuff. They're thinking about working and so they can eat. All right, that's what they're concerned about. So the fatter a nation is, the more likely they are to come up with these weird belief systems and religions and political agendas, special interest groups, and stuff like that. And what you will find in the background that funds all of this is big business. Now, because we live in a world where big business is a part of government and vice versa, we're living under fascism. And we have been for a long time. It's just that you didn't know it, you didn't realize it. But we live in a world today where you don't know where the government begins and the corporation ends, and vice versa. Case in point, when the United States wants to do something ungodly in a foreign nation, they hire a mercenary group. And of course, these groups change their names, Black Rock, Blackstone, Black whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I can't remember all the names of these companies, Blackwater, whatever. They hire some mercenary outfit to go and do their dirty work for them. That way they can say, we didn't do that. We don't know who did that. We don't know what's that about. But what you don't know is they contracted with the federal government to go over there and do what they do. Topple governments, whatever, assassinate people, whatever. So we have a fascist system in place. And part of this system likes to take advantage of what's going on with opportunities in their society. So when everyone is fat and comfortable, that's when they like to philosophize and build new mindsets and religions and new agendas. And that's where we are today. We had the whole phenomenon of wokeness. That's another thing too. We live in a society where they like to take words or well-established ideas and rewrite them. They want to redefine words, everyday words that everyone uses and understands. They want to redefine it to mean something else. Okay. That's where we get slang from. All right. And euphemisms. So by calling something what it's not, you get to change the power of meanings. And for all my lawyers out there, people work in the field of law, you know what I'm saying? Words have meanings. Words have power. And a word said out of in or out of context can change everything. The word "and" could literally send someone to prison for the rest of their life, but the word "but" may keep them out of prison. It's just that it's that minute. It's that exact. All right. So words are important. But when you redefine words and redefine definitions that have long stand it, you change the scope and the shape and the complexion of the society. You literally do it. And this can happen overnight. And like I said, it's a lot of it is through slang or what we would call ebonics, right? Or different colloquialisms. A southerner may have a different, drawl than a northerner. They say the same thing, but say it in a different way, but it means the same thing, different dialects, things of that nature. But we're specifically focusing on ideas and theories. So there are some old words from the 1980s. I'll give you a few examples. The old heads listen to me will know exactly what I'm saying. Millennials may not. All right. So it will sound corny to you probably. But back in the day, if you were living in an urban area in the 1980s, you heard different slangs. Like something was bumping. That track, that song was bumping, right? Or you may hear something say, oh man, that was dope. Or man, dude is so deaf. Deaf, bumping, hard, you know, bad. Bad means good. That's a bad car he got. Means good. Not it doesn't mean that's bad as in terrible. It means good. All types of there are hundreds of these slangs and words that a lot of them are obsolete. No one says it anymore. Some people still say, oh, that's rad, those kind of things. Can you feel me? Can you dig me? You feel what I'm saying? All types of slangs. And then you have redefined what a word means. So a person who is not familiar with your slang will think you're saying something else, right? Well, wokeness is the same thing. You say someone is woke. Well, it depends on the setting, right? If we were in an ICU and a nurse said the patient is woke, the doctor would immediately think, okay, the person has awoken from their coma. Let's go see about this patient. And then the doctor gets there and it's like, and the patient is still in a coma. He'll look at the nurse like, have you gone mad? Are you insane? You just told me the patient was woke. Yeah, he is woke. See, it says here right here, he's woke. He's part of the woke organization. The doctor may slap the nurse after that, saying, you idiot. Right? It depends on the environment and the context. But that's why philosophies, theories, ideas, and agendas and narratives can be important and they can be weaponized against you as well. So when you hear woke, it means someone has awakened from slumber. It means that they were asleep because the opposite of woke is sleep. When a person is asleep, they are unconscious. It means you are not conscious. You are unaware. So woke now means to be aware. Aware of what? Woke is not necessarily positive or negative, good or bad. It depends on what have you awoken to? What have you awakened up to? What have you realized? What have you become conscious about or aware of? Consciousness means to be aware of something. Oh, we're woke. Okay, so it means you're aware. You're aware of what? What? It doesn't mean that whatever your new awareness is correct. It just means you are now aware of something. You're aware of a new ideology. You're aware of an alternative way of thinking. Does it mean the new ideology or a new way of thinking is correct? No. But when you say it in today's society, it means that you have awakened to something that is automatically deemed to be true and factual. That's what it means. But it doesn't. It's not a definition. It's more of an adjective. It's not a definition. It's not. It's just something you say to make you sound like you know something. But it's nothing more than hip language, street language. But when corporations use it, right, it means something else. When George Soros provided bricks for the Black Lives Matter protests across America so that they could damage stores and businesses and homes and automobiles, their definition of woke was rebellion. I'm aware that it is time for me to rebel. So woke to them meant rebellion. Woke to them meant violence. Violence. What is it when you start damaging property? When you deprive someone of their property, is that not violence? Are you not doing violence to them? You're taking something by force. You are destroying something that you didn't build. You're destroying something you didn't buy. Isn't that destruction of property? Isn't that violence? Setting someone's car on fire, is that not violence? See what happens when you actually think something out? Well, this is starting to backfire now. Okay. You've heard go woke, go broke. Well, the rallying cry against companies' progressive campaigns is starting to leave a mark on corporate America. Now, after years of big promises and grandiose plans around social issues like diversity and sustainability, again, they're weaponizing words to give them meanings that they never had. Diversity or to diversify means many. It means many differences. It means different kinds, diverse flavors, diverse varieties. It's a variety. Many varieties means diversity. We already know there are many varieties. There are many varieties and geniuses and species and subspecies of every living thing on the earth. So why do you need to weaponize the word diversity? Diverse just means many. Many. That's it. Many. Multiple varieties. Yeah, there are multiple varieties of human beings. We're all one, which is one human being, but we have many different nationalities. We have different features. We have different understandings and ways of living, and on down the list. We are different. There are differences. There are similarities, but there are also differences. Someone from the East is different than someone from the West. Different ideologies, philosophies, religions, you name it. That's neither good nor bad. It just means you're different. And then sustainability. What do you mean? What's your definition of something that is sustainability? What do you mean sustainable? Sustainable is not a guarantee. Sustainability is something that is strived for, but it is not guaranteed. There is no guarantee that you will be able to sustain anything. You can't even sustain your own life. You can become a vegetarian, a vegan. You can work out 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can do push ups and setups and crunches. You can drink power shakes, protein shakes. You can do Kegel exercises. You can do all of that and still die at age 23, 24, 21, 15, 17, whatever. You fill in the blank. Doesn't matter. You can't sustain nothing. Can you make an argument that by doing this list of things that it will go well with you versus someone who doesn't? You can make an argument for that, but it's not a guarantee. Did you know that? It's not a guarantee. Nothing in life is guaranteed. You can strive for things, but you can't guarantee it. And that is the part that is being left out of the definition of these vocabularies when it comes to wokeness, diversity, sustainability. You can go as green as you want. You can wear green outfits, paint your tongue green, put on green lipstick and eyeshadow and fingernail polish, and wear green shoes and have green grass. You can recycle everything. Everything. You can do away with fossil fuels. You can do away with every factor of pollution. You can get to the point where no fossil fuels is used for anything. No more oil, no more crude oil drilling, no more natural gas, no more nuclear power, no nothing. You can take us all the way back to the Middle Ages if you want to, where everyone's riding around on horses or donkeys or just walking. All right, you can bring that beat back if you want to. And guess what? You haven't accomplished anything. There is still no such thing as sustainability. Even that cannot be sustained. Nothing you do will be sustained. Well, we're going to make the earth greener. We can save Mother Earth. No, you cannot. Mother Earth is still angry with you and has been angry with you for thousands of years. Mother Earth, as you call her, is still going to quarrel with you. She's still going to be violent with you and aggressive at times. Sometimes she's going to scream and shout at you in the form of severe thunderstorms and lightning. Sometimes she may cuss you out with extreme volcanoes and earthquakes. They're not going to stop. As a matter of fact, more earthquakes are going to happen. More hurricanes are going to happen. Increased tornadoes, increased hurricanes, increased volcanic action, increased earthquakes. All of these things are going to increase as we get deeper and deeper as time goes on. The earth was not designed to last forever in its current form. As a matter of fact, this is not even its original form. The earth has been made and destroyed multiple times. In the beginning, the earth was without form and void. It was basically nothing. Then God made it into something. It was the Garden of Eden. It was an incredible place. It was a beautiful place. You can't even fathom how perfect it was. It was perfect. It was the only time since humans have been on earth that the earth was perfect, without pollution of any kind, without carbon emissions of any kind. Man was set in a perfect environment. The Garden of Eden was a perfect environment. Man was set in the middle of a perfect environment. And what happened? He sinned. And what happened when he sinned? He threw all of creation into chaos and into a fallen state, which is a state that we have now inherited. That's right. He was put in a perfect place and he didn't act right. He didn't act right. So he got kicked out of the state of perfection of the Garden of Eden. He was kicked out. And then he continued to bug out to the point that God said, you know what? I have to now destroy everything that I just made and start over again. How did he do it? With a flood. Flooded the entire earth and rearranged the entire planet. The planet that Adam and Eve inherited is different than the planet we're living in today. As a matter of fact, if you really want to go deep into it, we're not even standing on the same ground that they walked on. You're not walking on the same ground that Adam and Eve walked on. Nope. The ground they walked on is sitting in the bottom of the ocean. Because what did God do? He took the land that was there and dropped it to the bottom of the ocean and took the bottom floor of the ocean and raised it up to be the new land. Everything changed. Everything. It's not even the same environment in any way, shape, or form. Yes, it was a cataclysm. And another cataclysm is on the horizon. This time, instead of destroying the world by water, it's going to be destroyed by fire. Yes, divine fire, not thermonuclear fire, divine fire. So you cannot sustain this planet no matter what you do. You cannot even hurt this planet no matter what you do. That's where man has been deceived the most, to think that he's doing something, that he's hurting something. This planet is not going to last in its current state. It's going to be remade again. So there's nothing you can do to stop that. Period. It's all a myth. It's all political theater to get more money out of you. Yes, it's going to cost 10 times as much more money to have the world totally green and do away with fossil fuels than it is to stay with fossil fuels. Did you know that? Your green agenda requires more energy than what we are using now. And it will create more pollution than what we have now. Did you know that? No matter what you do, you can't sustain anything. You can't sustain your life. You can't even sustain your lifestyle. How are you going to sustain your lifestyle? You can't guarantee that. Look at our forefathers. When the Great Depression happened, it caught most people by surprise. They never thought the stock market would ever go down because their experience taught them that the stock market only goes up. So when it finally stopped going up, people were blown away. And as a result, some people actually blew themselves away. They could not sustain their lifestyle. That is where the deception is. And people are learning that now. Now, big business is learning this. So after all these years of these promises and grandiose ideologies and theories, companies have taken a noticeable step back. Did you know that? The DEI and ESG, the two acronyms at the center of these debates, are now all MIA. Did you know that? That's right. Mentions of ESG on fourth quarter earnings calls in 2023 compared to 2020 fourth quarter dropped more than 78%. That's right, 78%. DEI's decline was even larger during that time frame, falling 88%. The so-called Great Unwokening in the business world could be a product of the current economy. When businesses was booming and stocks were only going up, companies were happy to talk about how they plan to improve the world. But it's not 2021 anymore. Interest rates are a long way from zero, and the threat of a recession slash depression still feels very real. So rather than stick their neck out for causes that could alienate customers and hurt their bottom line, companies are just worried about keeping their heads above water. The shift from businesses touting progressive ideologies hasn't always led to a boom for conservative ones. An anti-woke back bank backed by Peter Thiel, it closed 3 months after it was founded. And right-leaning companies that went public amid the SPAC frenzy haven't soared. As a matter of fact, Trump Media, all right, former President Donald Trump's social media company, has managed to maintain a lofty valuation that seems to confound even bankers. But it hasn't come without plenty of volatility. Meanwhile, those caught up in the public fight against woke capitalism are trying to rebound. Take Bud Light. The backlash from the beer brand's partnership with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney created sales and AB InBev stock, but layoffs ensued. Things have settled down more than a year later, but scars still remain. The stock is still shy of where it sat before the controversy, but Kid Rock, who filmed himself shooting cases of beer, seems to have come around on the brand. So there's that, but corporate America's approach going forward might be to avoid politics altogether, especially in an election year, in an attempt to stay above the fray and not end up going bankrupt. All right? That's what it is, okay? It is what it is, what it is. So, I don't know, man. We are living in some troubling times. I see you, John, earlier. You said, have I heard the interview with Keith Newmayer, from First Majestic Silver, where he opens up their own minting company in Las Vegas to take silver from other companies and get it off the COMEX? Nah, I haven't heard about that. I have not. I'll say this, though, man. Look, kudos to anybody that wants to try to, go their own way and bypass certain infrastructure. Hey, more power to you. But it's been my experience that they won't allow you to do that. Just look at what happened to Reggie Middleton with his Veritasium. He was going to threaten the status quo. And believe it or not, they were afraid that he would undermine the government's involvement, or should I say secret involvement, behind Bitcoin. So they had to shut him down, and they spanked him real good. Like, who is this uppity Negro coming in our space, stepping on our toes? And they sat him down. They seem to do that with anyone who they deem is in their way or may cause a problem or who has a big enough platform. I have a microscopic, tiny platform, so they don't care about me. But if I had 10 million subscribers on YouTube and I averaged 1 million views per video, then yeah, I would have been shut down. They probably would have Alex Jones me and put me off of all social media platforms. Absolutely. Because then I would have been perceived as a threat. And that's how they roll. As a matter of fact, did you know that there are 72 types to be specific, 72 types of Americans that are considered potential terrorists in official government documents. Oh, you don't believe me? You can Google it. And look, listen to some of the things on this list. You are considered an extremist and a potential terrorist in the United States of America if you are among those that talk about individual liberties. You are an extremist and potential terrorist, according to the United States government, if you're among those that want to make the world a better place. You are an extremist and potential terrorist in the United States of America if you are among those of the colonists who sought to free themselves from British rule. You are an extremist and potential terrorist, according to the United States government, if you're among those that are interested in defeating the communists. You are an extremist and a potential terrorist, according to the United States government, if you are among those that believe that the interests of one's own nation are separate from the interests of other nations or the common interests of all nations. Did you get that? You are an extremist and potential terrorist, according to the United States government, if you are among those that holds a political ideology that considers the state to be unnecessary, harmful, or undesirable. You are an extremist and a potential terrorist if you are among those that possess an intolerance toward other religions. Who gets to define the word intolerance and who gets to define the word religion? Because we're talking about government, we're talking about law. Law has words. Words have to be defined in order for them to be legal. So, what is their definition of intolerance? And what is their definition of a religion? If a person worships a rock that they call Brother Rock and bow down to it and go door to door talking to people and saying, "Do you believe in Brother Rock for your salvation?" And you say no, "Can you please get off my property?" Are you then going to be seen as intolerant toward the religion because you said you weren't interested? And by this definition, you are criminalizing everyone who says I am an agnostic or I'm an atheist, because now you are being intolerant toward other religions because the other religions say they believe in a God. You're an atheist or an agnostic saying you don't know if there's a God, or you know there is no God. Therefore, you are now being intolerant toward other religions, and you should probably be incarcerated according to the federal government because you may be an extremist or a potential terrorist. This is kind of scary, folks. This is scary. I do not believe that atheists and agnostic people should be locked up, even though I am not one of them. I believe in freedom of religion and freedom of expression. You have a right to believe whatever you want to believe. If you believe that a rock is God, then so be it. If you believe that your Corvette is God or your Lamborghini, then so be it. You have a right to believe whatever you want. I don't care what your religion is or what your beliefs is. You could be a KKK member. You can be a Nazi skinhead. You can worship Adolf Hitler. I don't care. You have a right and a freedom of religion and expression and freedom of speech. You have a right to get a permit and march down the street in your little white robes, your KKK robes, You have a right to do that. In the United States of America, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. If you're a Nazi skinhead or you worship Hitler, you have a right to get a permit and march down the street and have a parade for all of your comrades. No one should harm you. No one should throw bricks at you or hurl insults at you. As a matter of fact, you should be left alone to believe what you believe, that you have a right to exist. I believe you have a right to, I believe you have a right to exist. You can be a Satanist, you worship Satan, you worship whatever. You worship Baphomet, whatever. You're a witch, you're a warlock, whatever you are. You have a right to your beliefs. You have a right to your religion, and you have a right to be left alone. I think the government is afraid of its people, and they're mixing things and twisting things a bit here. As long as you are not depriving someone of their property or their person, you have a right to be left alone. What business is it of mine that there are satanic websites or websites that worship Corvettes, cars, or trees? They're not depriving me of my property, and they're not depriving me of my person. They haven't done anything to me. The KKK has a right to have a website, hold meetings, do all of that, as long as they're not depriving me of my property or my person. If you are a member of the LGBT, you have a right to believe what you want to believe and practice what you want to practice within the confines of the law, meaning that whatever two consenting adults decide to do, that is their business. The government should not be involved in people's bedrooms when two consenting adults are involved. The word to highlight there is consenting and the word adult. Defining what consent means, who can give consent and who can't, and defining what an adult is. This is not hard to understand, people. A person who is in a vegetative state cannot give consent even though they're an adult. Duh. A person who is intoxicated cannot give consent because they're intoxicated, even if they're an adult. Duh. It's just common sense. You don't have to take things to these levels that they're doing. But see, they're afraid because ideas have power, and they're afraid of losing control over the minds of their brainwashed people. That's right. Think about it. See, everybody thinks that their people group or special interest group is exempt, but you're not. You're not. You are not. But this list, folks, is real. You should check it out. If you are anti-gay, according to the United States government, you are an extremist and a potential terrorist. What did we just finish saying about beliefs? I don't care if you're gay or anti-gay. I don't care if you are pro or anti-immigrant, pro or anti-Muslim, part of the Patriot movement or not, members of the Family Research Council or American Family Association or not, members of the American Border Patrol or American Patrol, members of the Federation of American Immigration Reform, members of the Tennessee Freedom Coalition, members of the Christian Action Network, anyone that is opposed to the New World Order, anyone that is engaged in conspiracy theorizing 24, Agenda 24, Agenda 2030, anyone concerned about FEMA camps, anyone that fears impending gun control or weapons confiscation, anyone that's a part of the militia movement or the sovereign citizen movement. You see how they're starting to demonize people groups? They're trying to put everyone in people groups. Anyone who suddenly acquires a weapon, so now they want to take away your gun control. They want to take away guns. They want to totally penalize guns. They want to do away with gun ownership altogether. Because if you're part of a militia or organized militia, according to the U.S. government, you are an extremist and a possible terrorist. Even if you visit extremist websites and blogs, again, so now you don't have freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of expression. And then say anyone who exhibits extreme religious intolerance. What is your definition of extreme religious intolerance? We just finished talking about freedom of speech. You don't have to listen to me. You don't. Nazi Skinhead Church of America has a right to have a building down the street where they meet and hold worship services. So there's the Satan temple, or the Buddha temple, or the Baphomet temple, or the Brother Rock, or the Brother Corvette temple. They all have a right to exist as long as they're not depriving people of their person or property. They're not hurting. They're not. If they're going around lynching people, stabbing people, shooting people, killing people, hurting people, raping people, robbing people, bothering people, irritating people, that's a different story. You don't have freedom for that. You cannot deprive people of their person or their property. Okay? As long as that's not happening, leave people alone. Let them hold their little meetings and services. They're not hurting you. You don't have to listen to them. They have a right to be on social media. They have a right to have a YouTube channel. Why can't they tweet? They have a right to tweet out their beliefs to their fellow followers. You don't have to subscribe to them. You don't have to read their tweets. You don't have to. You don't have to read their tweets. You don't have to attend their services. You don't have to watch their YouTube videos. You don't have to listen to their podcasts. But they have a right to exist. Freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of expression. How is this so hard to understand? You don't have to like them or agree with them. Just ignore them. They're not hurting you. They're minding their business. Let them hold their rallies and walk down the street. Don't watch. Why are you attending? Why are you standing on the sidelines and shouting insults? Go find something to do. Leave these people alone. If people ignored them, they wouldn't march down the street. Did you know that? People do things for attention. And as long as you're feeding the trolls and you're letting them troll you, then you're going to get you're playing into their hands. Why do we care? You shouldn't. They have a right to exist. Leave people alone. As fellow Americans, we should mind our own business and leave people alone. Let them be. Let them live. Why are you triggered? Why do we have to censor speech? They can talk as crazy as they want to talk amongst themselves. Leave them alone. Let them be crazy. Let them be crazy. They can use the N-word as much as they want over there by themselves. You don't have to watch their YouTube videos. You don't have to listen to their podcasts. You don't have to listen to their radio station or SM radio channel. You don't have to do none of that. Leave them alone. Why do you care? Well, he said he hates gay people. So? Has he done anything to you? No. So then why do you care what another person thinks? Oh, so it's okay for them to think it. They just can't say it? What? Why do you care? Did you hear the sermon that this dude did? He said he wished he could take all black people and drown them in the ocean. Why do I care? Why do I care? Did he drown any people in the ocean? No. Has he hurt anyone? No. Has he told his members to go out and hurt people? No. Has any of his members ever been arrested for hurting people? No. So then why do you care? Why are you bothered by? Why are you listening to this? If you hate what you're hearing, why do you keep hearing it? turn the channel. Why are people so stupid and want to push for censorship? Because that's what you're doing. When you say you don't like another people group, you're pushing to censor yourself. If you're clapping and cheering because Alex Jones got kicked off of social media, you are clapping and cheering for your own demise because you're next. As soon as you run afoul of them, they're going to do the same to you. Say something or do something they don't like, no matter how trivial. You wore the wrong color today. You're canceled. You're out of here. That's the door you opened. That's the Pandora's box you opened. When they kicked Alex Jones off of social media, the entire country should have been in an uproar and crying foul. There should have been protests and parades down the street protesting, saying, "Free Alex Jones, put him back on social media. What's wrong with you?" But that didn't happen. Instead, people cheered and was like, "Yay, I hate him. I can't stand him. You idiot." It was never about him. It was about you. You were clapping and cheering for your own demise. Now look at us today. It started with kicking him off social media, and now it's ended with you can't say this word, you can't say that word, you can't do this, you can't do that. Your freedom of speech is gone. Your right of assembly is gone. Freedom of expression, gone. Freedom of religion, gone. That's what the world you want to live in? That's what you wanted? I believe that you have a right to believe whatever you want, and you have a right to communicate your ideas and beliefs, no matter how bizarre or outlandish or offensive. I don't have to listen to you. Your comrades have to listen to you, but I don't. I don't. So you're not bothering me. I don't care. I don't care. Who cares? Why does it matter to Americans so much what another person is doing or what another person is believing? As long as you are not depriving someone of their property or person, why does it matter to you? It shouldn't. They never hurt nobody. That XYZ group never hurt nobody. Yeah, but have you heard their beliefs? Yeah, their beliefs are crazy. Yeah, they're out there. But they never hurt anybody. Yeah, but they say they hate all black people. So why do you care? Well, I'm black. Okay, and why do you keep listening to them? Someone needs to shut them down. No, no. Because what happens if someone says they don't like what you believe? Should you be shut down? No. This is a scary time that we are living in, ladies and gentlemen. Not only is the United States of America collapsing, but so are your liberties. So are your rights, your God-given rights. So is the U.S. Constitution. So is the Bill of Rights. They're all on fire. The question is, what are you going to do about it? This November, what are you going to do about it? I gave you the roadmap. I told you what to do. Vote independent. Do not reelect any Republican. Do not reelect any Democrat. Period. Only independents. And if there is no independent person to vote for, write your own name in there. That's what you do. But I think the people have been so dejected that they lack the will to even do that. People always say, okay, you've told us the problem, but what's the solution? I just told you what the solution was. This is the greatest time in American history to change things. This is your last chance to change things, because this is an election year. This is of paramount importance. If you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, you keep saying, give us the solution. People always say, okay, you told us the problem. What's the solution? I keep giving you the solution. It's up to you to execute the solution. Do not vote for any Democrats or Republicans. Vote independents only. And if there is none, then write your own name in. Period. That's what you do. You want to upset this? You want to, how do they say it? What's the word I'm looking for? Disrupt. You want to be a disruptor? You want to disrupt things? There you go. That's disruption right there for you. Do that, and you'll be okay. Fail to do that, and I can't help you. I don't know what to tell you. I really don't. I really don't. I'm giving you the roadmap. It's up to you guys to execute it. All right, that's all I got for today, folks. You know what it is. The system works if you work the system. Bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And on that note, I'm out. See y'all in the next one. Peace.